So many of you probably saw yesterday the bubble logo that was on our website. How many people played with it? It's pretty fun. It's almost like a digital Zen garden. It's just very relaxing to see the bubbles sort of explode all over the screen. But we really ran this logo because we want search to be fun, fast, and interactive. And this doodle was designed to tease our announcement today. And then last night, we led with yet another doodle that helped illustrate and give even more of a clue of what we're doing, in that it lit up as you typed into the search box. So this is a little bit of fun to get people in the mood for today's announcement. And today's announcement does represent what we believe is a fundamental shift to search. How people think about search, how people do search, the speed and ease with which people can find information. And as such, and to put today's announcement in perspective, I thought I should offer some insight into the evolution of how people find information. We're here today at the MoMA. The MoMA has an amazing permanent collection. And as Matisse painted this painting, a new art movement was born called Fauvism, where the focus is on painterly technique and the use of bright colors, even when bright colors don't appear in the subject. It's a very important piece. It's a very special piece that the MoMA has here on site. But if you wanted to be able to find out all of the information and trivia that I just rattled off about Women with a Hat, say 75 years ago when the MoMA first opened in 1935, you would have probably had to spend half a day to a day in a library. You would have physically had to have gone to the library. You would have had to find references to the painting. You would have had to stitch together all of these different facts to really understand what was happening with this painting. If you move forward to 1950, things get a little bit faster, mostly because of the prevalence of telephones. With the telephone, you could basically skip the step of actually going to the library. You could call a librarian. You'd still have to verify that you were talking about the right painting and getting the right information. But you could get the information probably in, say, about a half an hour. Fast forward to 1995. Here, personal computers come into play. There were CD-ROM-based encyclopedias. And as long as your encyclopedia had an entry for Woman with a Hat, you could find this information probably in a matter of minutes. But the problem with that is that it was static information. It didn't really tell you, is the piece on display right now? Is it on tour? Where is the piece? This is my favorite piece in the San Francisco MoMA's permanent collection. It's Roy Lichtenstein's Mirror #1. And I come here often to see it. And I will say that sometimes it's here and sometimes it's not. And it's really hard to tell when it's going to be here or not. But when you look at search and how it plays out today, this is where the power of the internet really comes into play, because you can have real-time information. So for example, if you search for Lichtenstein Mirror SF MoMA, in the snippets, you can actually see that the mirror is on display in the second floor. And if it's on tour, it notes it on the web page. This is something that's really wonderful, and it actually has taken search time from we to enter their search into Google. After they hit the search button, it comes to us. There's some network time. It spends about 300 milliseconds on our servers on average. It goes back over the network. And then after it renders on their page, they spend about 15 seconds on average picking the right result for them. As you can imagine, because we are so focused on speed, never underestimate fast, we have spent a lot of time optimizing the 300 milliseconds when the search is on our servers, making our algorithms more efficient, making our computers more efficient, really trying to make sure that we have search as fast and as efficient as absolutely possible while it's on our servers. We've also spent some time thinking about network time. This is what our Fiber to the Home project is about, helping people understand how fast their connection could be, how fast it should be, and really pushing on this. Also, we have tools like Google Chrome, which really don't focus on network time, but do focus on rendering time and other overhead in the browser to really try and make people's experience with the internet as fast and clean as possible. But despite all that emphasis on optimizing, you might say, well, a search takes 25 seconds. And all of that focus is really on only one of the 25 seconds. Of course, there's 24 other seconds of typing and thinking that a user really spends. And you might say, well, but is that possible to even optimize that? And in truth, we actually have tried to optimize it. For entering a query, we've added features to our search engine like autocomplete. So when you're typing a query, popular completions show up right there so you can do less typing and enter your search faster. On selecting a result, we'll do things like the Google redesign to help people scan the page and find information even faster because of the overall layout. But you may realize that at some point, we're really up against the fact that entering a query, there's a physical speed for typing. And in terms of selecting a result, there's a physical speed for thinking. And this is where we really say, can we optimize search even more? Is it possible to make it even faster? And in the past few months at Google, we've had a key insight. We think it is possible. We think it's possible to have a system that provides a user with an easier way to enter a query with a lot of feedback and that ultimately makes search very, very efficient. And we call that product Google Instant. And that's what we're launching today. So Google Instant actually gets queries and gets your search results as you type and brings them to you and streams those results right to your computer. So the search is entirely interactive the whole time you're typing. And because it's so interactive, we really do need to show a demo. So I'm going to go over to the demo computer. And I have Dan here who's going to take a picture. We have a picture-in-picture that'll show up here in a second. So you can actually see what I'm typing and what actually happens on screen. So let's go back to the woman with the hat. Let's say we couldn't remember the specific name of this painting. And we just remembered there's an important painting at the SF MoMA. It has a woman in it. How does Google Instant work? Well, the first thing you'll see is that Google Instant, it is and looks like the main search results page, the main home page that you've always been accustomed to. So if I go ahead and start typing my query and type SFM, you'll see I did not hit return. And the results for SFM, and actually for SF MoMA, because that's the predicted query, are already on the page. So with just 3 keystrokes, we actually already have the result for the San Francisco MoMA. If I say, OK, that's great. I've typed SFM. The prediction of SF MoMA is right. I'll go ahead and tab. And then I'll just type woman to try and find the name of the painting. And again, just 6 keystrokes later, we already know that, in fact, the painting is called Femme à Chapeau, Woman with a Hat. So it's just that fast. And the search results, and they just update. So as you scroll up and down the overall recommendations and predictions, you can see the results right there. No more typing. You can explore the whole space of your query, Femme à Chapeau, and all of the related queries. Let's go ahead and take a look at Fauvism. Fauvism is the painting movement that actually came into play with Woman with a Hat. And if we type Fauvism, what you'll see is if I type F-A-U-V, it's already figured out that I'm likely to type Fauvism. So with just 4 characters, I already have a definition of Fauvism, pictures and paintings that show examples of it. And you'll note that a lot of people think Google Instant is search as you type. So we're actually predicting what query you're likely to do, and we're giving you results for that. We think this ultimately results in a much higher quality experience. But there's even a psychic element of it in that we can actually predict what you're likely to type and bring you those results in real time. And the other cool thing is using the predictions, you can build your query much more easily. So let's go back to the Lichtenstein mirror. If I type Lichtenstein, L-I-C-H-T, Google's already figured out that I'm likely to type Liechtenstein. Doesn't know is it the artist or the country, but I can hit Tab, then type MI for mirror, and again, it's already figured out that I'm likely to type mirror, hit Tab, hit SF, and there's the page on the Liechtenstein mirror here at the MoMA. We're really excited about what Google Instant means in terms of search. It means much faster search, an easier way to explore all of the related queries around the query that you're doing, and really providing results in real time before you've even had the opportunity to type your query. We're really ultimately excited about this. Let's go ahead and go back to slides. This is funny. This is something that I don't know if many of you have seen, but in 2000, we actually thought that this idea of being able to search before someone typed was so far out, it was actually our April Fool's Day joke. It was called Mentalplex, and it says, be sure to remove your hat and glasses, look into the circle, think about what you want to search, and present it. And so we thought this was sort of a fun bit of Google history, and obviously dovetails with today, because just 10 years later, what we're seeing is it's actually possible for us to greatly ease the entering of a query, greatly ease the scanning of results, and really speed up the Google search experience. Google Instant is going to be available later today on a variety of browsers. It will be available on Google Chrome, on Firefox, on Safari, and on IE8. And this will all be rolling out over the course of today. So starting today, if you're using one of those browsers, you will be getting Google Instant as part of your core web search experience. We'll be rolling this out as part of our homepage and on google.com in the US. But over the next week, we'll also be rolling this out internationally in the UK, in France, in Italy, in Germany, in Spain, and in Russia for all users who are signed in. So if you're signed in and you're using one of those country sites, you'll also be able to experience Google Instant within the week. We're really excited about what Google Instant could mean in terms of the evolution of search and the future of search, and what it means in terms of how it will change people ultimately searching. In fact, we estimate that Google Instant will help our users save 2 to 5 seconds per query. That may not seem like a lot, but when you add that to the billion searchers and more a day that come, or a week that come to Google, you actually get significant savings. In fact, you actually will be able to save 11 hours for every passing second. We're really, again, we couldn't be more pleased with how this product has developed. And I'm really excited to introduce to you the team that built Google Instant, so they can talk to you about some of the technical challenges and some of the product challenges that came about in building Google Instant and what it ultimately means. With that, I'd like to welcome Othar Hansen and Johanna Wright to the stage.